falling back home where I'm from. Thanksgiving's come, Thanksgiving's gone, and my family tells stories round their Christmas tree in the warm living room on Christmas Eve. And the candlelight shimmers as I write down the song. Please far away, family and home as the pen hits the paper. Shadows grow long, but I stay here a soldier. Just me and my gun on this Christmas, I'll tell you truth in my heart from a place that's forgotten. Time, God, and love, I'll stay here, man. My word and faith, there's nothing in this world that I wouldn't trade to go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home on Christmas Day. Get me out of this place. Take me back to the States, to the place of my birth, greatest country on earth. On this Christmas, this Christmas. But for those who never see the leaves fall again, who get to spend Christmas with family and friends, see this fall through all the way to the end. Well, who am I to wish for my home more than them? They gave their full measure till nothing was left. For all our freedom, they gave the last breath. They gave it with honor, faith, trust, and love. It just doesn't seem fair, but they'll never care to go home. No, they'll never go home. They've all soldiered on to march with the Lord. May peace learn grace, find their families this day. 'Cause we remember the price, that sacrifice that each of them gave. On this Christmas, they had nothing left. On this Christmas, they gave their last breath. On this Christmas, stay strong in the fight. Christmas Day, it's Black Night. On this Christmas, thank you with all of our hearts. On this Christmas, never understand what you lost. On this Christmas, fight Christmas Day. No, not die in vain on this Christmas. Leaves are all falling back home where I'm from. Thanksgiving's come, Thanksgiving's gone, but I stay in the fight. I'll soldier on for the ones who will never come home.
Stay in the fight. Soldier on. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Madison Rising.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio number 1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
All right, here we go again. Another week, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for choosing Cold War Radio from the Alpha Foxtrot Studio. The Cold War Radio patron hotline 412-206-6208. The voicemail 412-567-1460. please go to steelcityresistance.com where you can become a Cold War Radio patron in the right-hand margin. Catch the research room, tons of information in there. The video 2 page with videos of the audio clips and other things that make it on to the program. If you'd like to write to the show, please write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 10433 370, Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15234. I actually hit the wrong button. I hit the Leisure Suit Larry button, and I know that's a trigger for Ward, so I try not to do it. But I blew it. I'll say it again, Ward. Merry Christmas, sir.
The same to you, Hutch, and good evening to my fellow bacon-loving deplorables. I was listening to it, and I was like, man, it seems like I should be walking into like a smoke-filled bar, carrying a big bottle of whiskey or something, and I was just like, with
like a leisure, a smoker's jacket on or some.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know.
Big old stogie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, geez.
Just smooth, boy, smooth. Anyway, so I hope everybody out there is ready to enjoy the season. I saw some things in the chat room there, and I just wanted to chime in a little bit. I saw some people comparing Christmas and everything it means to democracy. And to me, to me, democracy is trivial when it comes to Christianity and Christmas. I mean, you look all over the world and you see all the different generations of people, of Christians that have suffered all over the globe throughout time. We're just lucky to have democracy. Maybe we can save it, maybe we can't, but that has no bearing on Christianity. It'll be there, or else we wouldn't, Ward. You know what I mean? I mean, you look
absolutely
throughout the ages, and if it wasn't for hope in Christ, what was there, you know, back in the day? I mean, it just thousands of years. You know, so anyway, I'm happy to be able to celebrate Christmas this year. I want to I want to try something tonight. I want to focus the calls. If you want to call the show after 9, we're going to have a limited topic. I want you to talk about something in your family, some tradition, some Christmas tradition or recipe, or, you know, whatever you do special. I know there's a lot of stories out there, and I think that one of the things that we miss from day to day and week to week, Ward, is the fellowship, especially now that the COVID thing is so pervasive.
Yeah, they got everybody segregated, and you can't get. And I think, and that's part of the plan, man.
Indeed.
Let's eliminate, you know, human contact, keep people, you know, social distance so they can't get near each other. And I've seen some stuff on Twitter too about, you know, saying that that's part of the reason, you know, when the revolution started the first time, where did they meet at? Churches, bars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they weren't bars then; they were taverns. But it was the same thing.
Public houses.
And it's all the stuff that they're shutting down now because they don't want the second revolution to come and hit them.
But see, you know, again, and I hit on this show after show, they don't study history. If you think that a scrawny-ass government is going to stop the American people, or even, let's not even say the American people, Ward, let's say the Pittsburgh people, or the Somerset people, or the Philadelphia people, or the Cleveland people, if you think that your scrawny government is going to keep us from our way of life for long, you haven't paid attention to history. I guarantee you there's already black market restaurants sprung up all over New York City, I'll bet. There's no doubt about it. You can go buy some food in New York.
I'm sure there's speakeasies, you know. I mean,
and if you do it to alcohol, it'll be the same thing. That's exactly right.
Yeah. It's a shame that it has to be a speakeasy so you go get a hamburger, but I mean, it is what it is.
Right. I mean, you're not going to stop the American people. I mean, you can give it hell. We'll see what happens. We'll be on the other side.
Did you see what happened up in Oregon We're going to be, I'm sure Marlene's going to want to talk about it. They bum rushed the Capitol, man.
It's only a matter of time.
That's exactly what happened. Patriots rushed the Capitol, and we're trying to force their way in. So yeah, we'll be. I'm sure we'll be talking about that.
I mean, it's only a matter of time what you're doing to our children and our grandchildren. I mean, how long do you think we're going to tolerate this?
Well, part of it is, I mean, that's the thing with the mask. That's just that mask does absolutely nothing. It's just a form of
it's
submission.
proven,
and it's to condition people to the next step. Where right now you can't go into Walmart unless you're wearing a mask. Then it's going to become you can't go into Walmart unless you've had the immunization or unless you had whatever. And that's all it is.
And then it's going to be get on the truck.
Yeah, exactly. And people, and what's even worse is the people that are running to get injected with this crap, and they don't know what it is. I'm sorry, but I can't believe that something that was developed in less than a year is going to eliminate the common cold. Because we've been told since the beginning of time, there is no cure for the common cold. And that's what COVID is. At its heart, it's a cold virus.
We'll see what happens. I mean, you got all these people hyping it up, and I'm kind of tired of it myself. I really am.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, they're controlling people by fear. And how many people do you see that are losing their minds? Oh, you got to wear your mask, or else
and the fear chemical came in and took their mind away. It made them stupid. I'm listening to a commercial on the radio today from Allegheny County. There's 1,100 more cases as of 2 days ago. And there was 3 deaths. Moving on to the baseball league. You know what I mean? It's like you people can't do math. Anyway, whatever. I'm done with that. I really am tired of it. But I wanted to do something today. I wanted to kind of lighten it up a little bit. It's all gloom and doom out there. I'm getting a little fatigued here of all this negative news, and I know it's on purpose. But sometimes you just can't help it when you dedicate a certain amount of time to collecting material for the program. You invariably have to wade through this sewage. So I wanted to change it. I had a food adventure today. I was wanting to make some rice for the last couple of days. I wanted to make some fried rice and see how my system could handle it. So today I did that. And to prepare for it, I went to, have you been to a market district, Ward?
You mean like the Giant Eagle Market District?
Yeah, the real big one.
Yeah, I've been to one out that's out by Century 3.
Okay, I was at one out in near Robinson, and just an amazing place, man. I mean, just acres of top level, top quality food, and I mean, you could get bison, you could get snake, you could get whatever you want, but there's everything in between. And I'm out there doing a little shopping, and I came across the spice aisle. I was looking for some hollandaise mix until my stepson volunteered to make it, from scratch. It's not that hard. But I got some artichokes I want to eat over the holiday. But anyway, I'm going through the spice rack, and I saw a fried rice spice envelope, powder. So I picked it up, and I'm looking for I wanted to do something different than chicken or whatever. So I'm looking for some, in the deli section, processed side. Sometimes they'll cube up some ham, in little small cubes and have it in little packages. I was looking for that.
Yeah, they do it for like salads.
Yeah, like for pasta salad, different kinds of salad. So Campione down in Florida might appreciate this. They didn't have any of that. I was looking hard. But they did have some cubed up prosciutto. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. I made some prosciutto fried rice, and it was good as hell. Let me tell you, I looked like a retard doing it, though, because I didn't I thought I had some. I like a certain kind of rice. I like balsamic. No, basmati. I like basmati rice. It's a kind made down in Arkansas, grown down in Arkansas and other places, and it's really aromatic. It's white rice, but it's really, you can eat it by itself. And I saw this bag of it in the cupboard in the pantry for days, and I went for it today, and I'm like, son of a gun, it's brown. So I did something I never did in my life. I went and used the minute rice, and it worked pretty good. It took a while to dry out, but it worked pretty good. So I used that, but my vegetable game was lame. I didn't get any bean sprouts, and I was going to take some peas out of the can and leave them sit overnight in the strainer. And try to get home.
Dry them out.
Yeah, and it's like, damn, all right, well, what do I do about the carrots? I got some carrots in there, some raw ones, but, man, they take forever to get soft in the oil, So I spied in the freezer, and I got a frozen bag of mixed vegetables. So I go out there, and I take a couple handfuls of this, I put it in a bowl, and there I am, taking all the green beans out and putting them back in the bag, just so I had peas and carrots. And I looked over to the wife, and I'm like, hey, you don't mind corn in the fried rice, do you? And she's like, no. So, all right, all I got to do is get rid of these beans. So anyway, I did that, and it all came together. It was pretty good. But man, I just, some prosciutto fried rice, a Cold War Radio original.
Yes, it is. I'd never heard of it.
Me either. It was good, though. I'll tell you what. I had to use some purple onions, but they were pretty good. So I asked you, Ward, to bring something from the house to see if you had, like I had asked the callers, tonight I want to hear your person. I want some fellowship. I want to hear what you do special on Christmas. And I asked you the same thing to see what recipe or tradition or whatever you might have in store for the folks. So it's on you.
Sure. Well, to be honest with you, we don't have really a Christmas dinner type thing. Sometimes it's like, well, we'll have ham. Sometimes it'll be turkey. Sometimes, it depends how big the turkey was from Thanksgiving. There's stuff that like that comes into play. But I was thinking more along the lines of the traditions that I did, like when my kids were younger. Like, every Christmas, my wife made a point of getting the kids pajamas and then giving them to them on Christmas Eve, just, I think, because it jacked them off, because they got, pajamas instead of, He-Man or whatever the hell it happened to be. And then they'd go to bed, and be sleeping like angels. And I'm drinking whiskey like a fiend, trying to put, doll houses together. And screaming profanities at the top of my lungs at 2:00 in the morning because I can't find part A that snaps into section D, and that's the most Christmas memories I have of being an adult, is just the complete and utter anger and putting this crap together, and then conversely, come Christmas morning when the kids get it and they're all happy and excited, it makes it worth it. But for those 3-4 hours where I'm putting that shit together, man, I wanted to kill somebody. So Merry Christmas, man.
I'll tell you, as I've gone through life, my Christmases went from decent, comfortable, but pretty humble. I mean, not real extravagant like a lot of my neighbors and things growing up, into now it's like a capitalist freaking tsunami, man. I mean, my whole living room fills up with shit from China. You know what I mean? It's like the whole place, like there's a couple really well thought out gifts and things like that, but just the window dressing in between, man, it's madness. And a lot of it's fun. One of our traditions is we give each other worthless things. Like I remember one year, my wife's aunt got me a box of chicken bouillon cubes. Just random stuff like that. Some dried cranberries or something. You know what I mean? And
That's hilarious.
I always jack my kids off because I'd get them like a tin of mackerel, or some anchovies,
a tin of oysters.
Some smoked oysters, right? That's how I rolled. But anyway, so just to wrap this segment up, I was out there, like I said, at the Market District, and this place is. I don't know if they're all the same. As a matter of fact, I know they can't be all the same because the one I grew up near on Center Avenue, the building's not big enough for it to be like the one in Robinson Town Center. It's not even in Robinson, but close.
But I think it's the newer ones, you know,
Yeah.
because they don't have it like they have somewhat of a marketplace in the waterfront, but like the like Giant Eagle that's near my house doesn't have it at all.
Right, and some of them are Giant Eagles, but the one up there, I mean, it has a wide open floor plan with just so many different food that you can get right there. You know,
It's crazy.
stations. And one of the places we went to was the popcorn station. I got a couple little barrels of popcorn that were made right there. It was pretty cool. But one of the things that stood out that I thought you'd appreciate was there was a table, and it had all of the goodies, if you will, that we had growing up. You know, like
That's cool.
Clark bars and Zag nuts, and
Oh,
remember the different gums. Remember the Beemans and the Blackjack and all that, and the Tea-Berry, and they had the Rainbow. You know, the plastic cellophane thing, a Rainbow bubble gum circles, you know, balls or whatever. And dude, I'm looking at this, and it's like Clark bar, $1.79.
wow.
I'm like, babe, that was 10 cents, and it was twice as
Yeah.
big.
Yes, it was.
But just a little, I love that table. It's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like Cracker Barrel's little store, but it's more Pittsburgh oriented.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. Now it's time to dive into the doom and gloom, because it's what we do best here at Cold War Radio. I got a local story, Ward, that really stung me when I saw it on television. I was watching something local, and this came across. It might have been on the radio. I can't remember. But what a tragedy. A Pennsylvania police officer is in stable condition after being shot multiple times outside of McKeesport Police Station. Local prosecutors identified a suspect who is reportedly on the run. McKeesport Police Chief Adam Alfer told reporters that a man identified as Kobe Lee Francis, and I'll put the picture up in the chat room in a minute, 22 years old, is wanted for attempted homicide after he allegedly shot police officer Gerisimos Athens multiple times on Sunday, Action 4 News reported. That's my local news here, our local news. Despite being shot twice in the neck and once in the left shoulder, Officer Athens is said to be stable and alert. The incident began when Francis came to the police station and was served with a family abuse protective order, Alfer stated. Later, police received a call from the petitioner who said Francis was near Yester Square in violation of the order. Dispatchers sent Officer Athens to the scene, who placed Francis in custody. After recovering a firearm from Francis' vehicle, officers transported him to the police station, officials stated. This is all on video, by the way. You'll have to search for it. It's not on the video 2 page. Once at the station, Francis allegedly produced a second firearm. Let me play this out because I did see the video. The officer exits the police SUV from the driver's side, walks around the rear of the vehicle to the back seat, passenger side, opens the door, and gets blasted from inside. Produced a second
So the
firearm.
dude had another gun?
Yes, he did. Produced a second firearm and shot Athens 3 times. Police say Francis fled the scene. The Allegheny County District Attorney's Office tweeted a photo of Francis and said he is wanted in connection to the shooting of a police officer. Once arrested, Francis will reportedly face charges subsequent escape. Officials have not yet spoken to the officer about how Francis reached the station with a second gun in his possession. Chief Alfer's message to Francis: turn yourself in. Now, I look at this on a number of levels, Ward, and I initially said that I thought it was tragic. And it is. Because for us to have an element of our society living in the United States that is not being raised by men, this is what you get right here. What would possess a 20-year-old boy who is in a man's body of shooting a police officer? Your life is over.
No. It's not. That's the thing. There's no fear of retribution because these dudes have these, look at the guy, what's his name? Poplawski, that shot the 3 cops in East Liberty. Or not East Liberty. You know what I'm talking
Stanton
about.
Heights, yeah, Stanton Heights.
Yeah, Stanton Heights. Those 3 cops that got shot, this dude's still in jail. And how long ago was that?
Right. But I'm saying, he's 22 years old, and he could have been a member of society. He could have been a control. We look at this, and yeah, I want to punish him too. Don't get me wrong here, but we have to fix this, man.
But that's why they're doing it, because they're not afraid. They're not afraid. If you shoot at a cop, whatever, they're going to hang you, and that has to be the message that goes out. Period. It's not the bleeding hearts are going to pray for you and nothing's going to happen. No, you take a shot at a cop, you die.
That's what I mean. I said that straight up. I said his life is over. I mean, it might not be over like he's going to die, but his life is certainly,
it should be over.
It's certainly, but it's something that we can't allow. If we have a segment of our society like that in America, America isn't shit. I'm here to tell you. I was looking at a YouTube video today of massive walls of vending machines. And I'm thinking, this society can't even handle that. If you put a vending machine wall in any city in this country, the freaking savages will rip it open and take everything that's in it.
Yeah.
This is a problem that we've got to kill. And I agree with you. Punishment is definitely part of it. I'm not talking about being a bleeding heart. But what about putting people in prison that aren't raising their kids, or making an incentive for them to raise their kids, that we could try to get our way out of it? I looked at that 2 ways because I looked at the cop. He probably had a 22, and he's the cop's huge, man. He's okay. Now, I'm not saying that's cool, but what would possess a 20-year-old kid to do that? To say, screw it, my life's, I don't care about life. He thinks he's just going to shoot a cop and walk away.
Well, part of it too is the culture that idolizes that.
Indeed.
He's got street cred now. He's got,
Oh yeah, the mayor of Pittsburgh will hold a parade for him now, probably.
Yeah. Well, no, because he didn't get shot. He got away with it. But that's the point. The criminals don't care, because they're, number one is they go back into their little hidey hole with all their hoodlum buddies, and now they're a hero, and they idolize, criminals. I mean, and a lot of that comes from, between the movies and whatnot. And, people gravitate to, oh, wait a second, I can be a criminal. I can, and everybody's going to love me. And, that's not really the way it works there, but that's the way that, that Hollywood portrays it.
You would think that even if there's not a man involved, you think that the women would be more concerned at this mayhem, because this is like the norm, man. This isn't something that's totally off the wall. This is something that seems like it happens all the time.
Well, now it does. I mean, I think that there's a correlation, and you can see at what point the assault on the police officers rose exponentially, and it was right in the middle of Barack Hussein Obama's administration. That's when the cops start catching hell, because prior to that, it was an understanding where you shoot a cop, it's a death penalty. There's no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. Death penalty, as it should be. And now you have, it's like in Pennsylvania, Poplawski admitted he trapped them. He called the cops to come to his house so he could shoot them.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Ward's talking about is several years ago, we had an incident where a troubled young dickhead had an AK-47 and had barricaded himself in his house in a hilly neighborhood of Pittsburgh. A lot of them are like that. And the cops were called, and 1, 2, 3, man, the first guys that arrived on the scene killed. And Officer Kelly was one. I'm not going to do him justice. I didn't do any research, so I'm just going to stop right there.
But my point was, since that time, this guy's been sitting in prison, getting 3 squares a day, and he killed police officers. There should be no, and the thing is, he admitted to it. When they arrested him, yeah, I did it. He was proud of it. He got his badge of honor or whatever. That's great. Now stretch his neck.
Wow, am I going to piss you off, Ward? Man, am I going to piss you off? I'm just a little bit older than you. I was born in 61. When were you born?
65.
Okay, so you're my younger brother's age, so you kind of missed this. I was just only 18 when this happened, but I wanted to just you think that's bad. Man on death row 40 years after kill for thrill murders in western Pennsylvania. Out of Pittsburgh, Jim Clausen hopes that one day he will watch the last breaths of the man who killed his friend and fellow police officer 40 years ago. Clausen has been waiting for decades to be summoned as a witness to John Lesko's final day. He wants to be seated behind a glass window when the curtain opens, showing Lesko strapped to a gurney with a lethal injection waiting in the wings. Lesko was sentenced to death. First, while I was in basic training, Ward, in 1981, and again in 1995, after the original sentence was thrown out for the January 3rd, 1980 murder of Leonard C. Miller, a 21-year-old, younger than the shooter today, a 21-year-old Apollo police officer and their first black officer, by the way. Lesko and Michael Travaglia were arrested later that day in the so-called kill for thrill spree in which they took 4 lives across the region over 8 days. Rather than being executed, it is more likely that Lesko, Pennsylvania's longest-serving death row inmate, will die in prison by some other means. I just don't think justice is being served, said Clausen, retired Apollo police chief. Sickening.
Completely.
I happen to know a 16-year-old boy that got caught up in the middle of that mess. That's the only reason that I was so familiar with it and followed it so closely. He ended up turning state's evidence on these guys, but it doesn't matter. Pennsylvania's justice system is as fake as the justice system in Washington.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Wolf's first action when he took office was to eliminate the death penalty.
Was it?
So, oh yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the reasons Poblowski's still sitting on death row, because there's a stay on all state executions.
Yeah, we used to even have the electric chair. I remember that back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to another horrible state, New York, where Cuomo thinks he made a funny.
We had a request for a waiver of quarantine. We normally do not do waivers of quarantine. It's unfortunate that we're in this situation, but people from other states that have a higher infection rate, what we're dealing with the UK now, as I said, no state is an island, so you have to protect yourself, and that's what the quarantine rules did. But we have an unusual request. But DOH has been considering it for the past few days, and they have actually granted the request. Santa Claus asked for an exception for the 14-day quarantine requirement because it would be impracticable for him to be in the state and then quarantine and still get all his gifts delivered on time. DOH was flexible. They have granted the quarantine waiver, but Santa is required to wear a mask this year. I think you will still be able to recognize him, even though he'll be wearing a mask, because he does have a fairly distinct outfit that he wears. Plus, his body style is fairly distinct.
Had to fact shame.
So I don't think there'll be any issue in identifying Santa this year. He'll be able to do his job, but do it safely because he'll be wearing a mask. So thank you, Dr. Zucker, I think that was a creative outcome.
Is there anybody out there in the world that is fond of this idiot? I mean, really? I mean, is there anybody that's his friend? I mean, do people hang around with this guy, his Cro-Magnon guy?
Just Fredo. That's it.
Oh, I know someone else that hangs out with him, too, by the way. Dr. Anthony Fauci recently told children he went to the North Pole and personally vaccinated Santa against the COVID. So they have nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Fauci did not say that Santa would have to wear a mask. So I don't know if they're arguing about that in Cuomo's hole. I think they both must come from the same volcanic farmland in Italy, I guess, somewhere.
You know, it's funny, though. He sounds like Scarface. Listen to him talk.
Yeah.
And he has that really bad, like almost Cuban type accent.
Cuomo, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What do you say? What do you say? Not invariably, unattainably, or something. I don't know what that is.
It was a non-word.
Right.
When he said it, I'm like, wait a second, that's not even a real word. This jackass makes up words and just goes with it.
Yeah, he does, man. There's no question. Now, I've told you repeatedly that the Gateway Pundit is horrible, absolutely terrible when it comes to clickbait. And they got me, but instead of deleting the thing, I wanted to demonstrate what I'm talking about, because I got to tell you, a lot of material from this show comes via the Gateway Pundit's hard work. But man, if they could round it out and get this figured out, this is, here's the headline. Will Jesse Morgan be the hero to save Pennsylvania and this country? Trump posted this on his YouTube account last night. So I'm fired up to hear this, man. And as it gets rolling, I'm getting even more fired up. And then Ward, in the middle of it all, no evidence, a nothing burger, a total and complete piece of circumstantial evidence that is worthless. I mean, it was getting so good, too.
Well,
this all happened on October 21st.
Sorry, there was a delay there.
So October 21st, I went into work as normal. I picked up my truck, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I got my slip, my ticket, whatever you want to call it. A slip of ticket is basically something that it has the date, it has the time, it has when I'm leaving, it has all the information I have on it for that load. So I got my ticket, and off I rolled to go to Bethpage, New York. I get to Bethpage, I check in at the guard shack out front. I go over to the door that he assigned me. I dock the trailer. I go inside, and as I go inside, this is when things kind of got a little different. So I always see an expediter when I go to a place. I see them whenever I go to a place, and whenever I leave the place. So when I went in, I gave her the ticket. She said, "Hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing pretty good. How are you?" She said, "Good." She goes, "Guess what? Today you're going to be bringing back mail-in ballots." I'm psyched because I'm doing something to help out for the presidential race. You know, like this is cool, the election. You know, and all I know is I'm picking up the ballots from New York. I don't know if they're New York ballots. I don't know if they're Pennsylvania ballots. I don't know if they're California ballots. All I know is I'm picking up ballots in New York, headed for Harrisburg. I got my ticket, and off I rolled. Part of me was wondering,
New York to Harrisburg. Imagine that.
I was wondering also, like, well, why am I taking these things out of state from New York to PA? I don't know. I don't know what the proper process is, but I just know, like, I mean, I don't think you would take mail-in ballots out of one state to the other. Like, it just doesn't seem right, you know. Then I got to I got to Harrisburg, and this is where things kind of got weird. So I pull in, and I made the wait. So I sat in the yard, and I sat there from 9:15 till a little after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I ended up going in to get to figure out what was going on, and I went in. No one knew. I talked to an expediter. He said he doesn't know. He said, "Hold on, I'm gonna go get someone, find someone, you know." And that's whenever I talked to this transportation supervisor. He came down. He's like, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "Good. How are you?" He said, "Good." He said, "I'm transportation supervisor." He said, "Like, I'm going to need you to take this load out to Lancaster." And I said, "Well," I was like, "Why?" I was like, "That really doesn't make sense." This is what I told him. I was like, "This really doesn't make sense." I was like, "Why would I take it back to Lancaster?" I was like, 95% of this load is all for you. I was like, it would make more sense to leave the trailer here in this yard if that's the case, because I'm running out of hours, all right? And the guy said, no, just take it back. And I said, okay. I was like, well, I'm not going to argue with the dude. I don't get paid to do that. And I said, all right. I was like, well, let me get a slip. And he said, no. And I was like, well, I need a slip, you know. He goes, no. He's like, I'm not giving you a slip. I said, well, why aren't you giving me a slip? And he's like, well, you need to be unloaded. I was like, well, let me get a late slip at least, so that way I'm being paid for the 6 hours that I sat in the yard. He's like, no, you ain't getting no slip either, no late slip either. And he got kind of sarcastic. I got a little sarcastic. And I was like, whatever, I'm leaving. Then I drove the Lancaster, dropped the trailer off where I normally do. And then I dropped my truck off and got in my car, drove away. Came back the next day, and this is when it's even weirder. So my trailer that I had this trailer for the past month, 10R 1440. It's not there, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, "Where's my trailer at?" You know, like the trailer's gone. No one knows. And this is the first and only time that I had mail-in ballots, first and only. I didn't vote for anyone. I'll be honest with you. I didn't vote for anyone. I just didn't want to, you know. I was talking to my mom, and she said, hey, she goes, I want you to talk to someone about the situation that you had, all right? And I said, okay. And I talked to them, and I told them everything that I just told you.
Was that a nothing burger, or was it me?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, the story was good, but I mean, that doesn't work in court.
No, but if that's the same guy that Rudy had that testified in Pennsylvania,
yeah,
he's credible.
I don't doubt it. I just wish he would have went in the trailer and took a picture or something.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, the fact that he's willing to, sign the affidavit, that's evidence, man. And did you see? There's a whole big thing down in Georgia now. They've attached a document to their certification saying that they found evidence of election fraud.
I think they found evidence of election fraud in all 5 of these states and even some other ones.
They did.
The problem is getting a court to look at it and to get somebody to have some courage. I mean, I saw an article, Ward, about, I'll give it right back to you here, but I got to say these things when I think of them or I'll forget it. The CEO of Overstock.com, I can't remember his name. He came up in the news a month or so ago as standing up for the president. He was in a 4.5-hour meeting in the White House, and he came out of there, and he said the bastards around this guy are selling him out. They're trying to get the clock run out. They're trying to get him to concede. And he mentioned Meadows, and he mentioned Cipollone, the lawyer. Mm-hmm. Man, I hope the president realizes that if that's what's happening. Because I'll tell you, the team is getting smaller and smaller at the top, and it's sickening. It's disgusting, man. And I swear, if nothing else happens, I hope every one of the people that's involved with that, with deceiving this guy and with stabbing him in the back, I hope they all burn in hell.
Well, here's a thing that I just came across. There's a law that prohibits Pence from accepting electoral votes from fraudulently certified states, says a constitutional lawyer. Ivan Ratklin says Vice President Pence can request states send electoral college slates that actually reflect the will of the people. Citing the United States Constitution and U.S. Code, constitutional lawyer Ivan Ratklin says Vice President Pence's duty is to instruct states to expeditiously send their electoral college certificates immediately if they have not already been received. USC 12 explains that when no certificate of vote and list is mentioned in sections 9 and 11 of this title from any state shall have been received by the President of the Senate or the activist of the United States by the fourth Wednesday in December. After a meeting, the electors shall be held. The President of the Senate shall request by the most expeditious methods available the Secretary of State's to send up their certificate. Basically, what it's saying is Pence can reject any state that there is a contested election, which means Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona,
Michigan.
Yeah, all of them can be tossed out. And then at that point, it becomes an up and down vote. If one senator,
I think it's coming to this. I think it's coming to the House and Senate now.
And when it does, it doesn't matter because there's all it takes is one senator and one congressman to object.
But
and
the
at
vote,
that point, it becomes
the vote.
What's that?
The vote though, is it's it looks like it's a slam dunk, but that's
no. If you follow the Constitution, it is a slam dunk because there's 30 states that have a Republican majority. They have to vote along party lines. Period. That's in the Constitution.
I knew they only got one vote. I didn't know they were required to vote along party lines because what if there's 5 parties?
Well,
I don't know.
This is based on the Constitution.
Anyway,
I guess there are 5 parties that have to do that way anyway.
I look at the constitutional framework, and I look at what we've already got in framework. I mean, we've got a constitutional framework already, and the Supreme Court refused to do its job because the Chief Justice is diddling whatever he diddles with on Epstein's Island, I guess. I just, I understand the brevity and the seriousness of the constitutional text. I got that, but what if they don't follow it? What's next? That's the only thing that makes me nervous, Ward, is I don't trust the people. These are criminal bastards on both sides. This is something that we better have some resolve in ourselves.
Well,
if this comes down to it, we might end up having to solve this.
At the same time, if the executive order gets triggered, which it should, because Ratcliffe already stated that there was foreign interference. Foreign interference means George Soros is broke.
We'll see.
It means, if you follow the letter of the executive order.
So don't you think if we followed the letter of the law to this point, we would never be right here? We would watch people being locked up, and we would have been watching it since Eric Holder, at least. That's the situation that we're in. You got to look at the battlefield for what it is. It's shaky. I give you the Attorney General of the United States.
As you said, I've already commented on fraud. Let me just say that, there are fraud in unfortunately, in most elections. I think we're too tolerant of it, and I'm sure there was fraud in this election. But I was commenting on the extent to which we had looked at suggestions or allegations of systemic or broad-based fraud that would affect the outcome of the election, and I already spoke to that, and I stand by that statement.
But about the idea of appointing a special counsel, would you answer a question about whether you believe there's enough there, even with what you've already said? Do you believe there's enough evidence to warrant a special counsel to investigate that, perhaps Sidney Powell or someone else?
Well, if I thought a special counsel at this stage was the right tool and was appropriate, I would name one, but I haven't, and I'm not going to. Yes, Sadie.
Hi there. 2 questions. The first, you talked a lot.
I mean, is it just me, Ward, or is that like a drop kick to the belly button, man? I mean, damn.
Well, here's the thing. Who cares? I mean, he's working until Wednesday. So whatever he says now, take with a grain of salt.
All that wasted time, though. All that wasted time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And evidence and heart-wringing for us.
Well,
this is horrible.
Did you hear what happened last night?
I did not.
No, Sunday night. Sidney Powell was leaving the White House.
Yeah.
And she was coming out of the residence side. And a reporter from CNN seen her and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" She goes, "Ain't none of your business."
I like her.
I love her. She's awesome.
I think she was at that meeting that the CEO of Overstock was at. I'm not positive, but
well, there was a thing where he set up Hillary, and she took an $18 million bribe from him.
Nice. I mean, I think he's on our side, no question. But man, he didn't have anything good to say about the president's staff. I'll tell you. And I mean, that seems to be a common problem. Now, I could be wrong. You know, you wait until it's over and you hear the president say it, and maybe he's got a staff that we don't even know. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's the kind of stuff he wants leaked.
That's true.
I mean,
God, I wish he'd do something already, though, Ward. Come on now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But, you know, it's one of them things where he's got his plan.
Let's just hope we don't look back on these reruns in 5 or 10 years and say, man, we were gullible twice.
Yeah. Damn, they got me twice.
Freaking internet never goes away, does it?
No, it does not.
That's all right. We're brave, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, in this segment, the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee was removed from the U.S. Capitol Monday morning. The statue, which resided next to a monument of George Washington for 111 years, will be moved to the Virginia Museum of History and Culture. Blackface Klansman Governor Ralph Northam, Virginia, created a commission earlier this year to remove and replace the statue. Each state is allowed to exhibit 2 statues in the Capitol, and Northam's commission voted to replace the Robert E. Lee statue with, get this, you've all heard of her, young and old, in all different generations of America. You've heard of Barbara Rose Johns. Remember her, Ward? I mean, the parties and the parades. What a wonderful person.
Was that Tokyo Rose?
Barbara Rose Johns, a black civil rights activist. The Confederacy.
Nobody's ever heard of her.
Nobody ever heard of this woman. Does she even exist? The Confederacy is a symbol of Virginia's racist and divisive history, and it is past time we tell our story with image. No. You know what, Governor Northam? Why don't you tell the real story? Why don't you show your number one top black American murdering general, your top guy, the Democrats' number one ace buku general? That's your guy, Northam, not our guy. That's your guy. That's the Democrat Party guy. You Democrats that are black are ridiculous. You know, he's destroying the evidence. That's all he's doing. They are destroying the evidence, folks. The Democrat Party is destroying the evidence of their past racist history. And you'll buy anything if you buy that.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Southern Army, the Confederates, were another arm of the Democrat Party, the same as the KKK was. The KKK was just brought about to keep the uppity Negroes down after that's what it was. I mean, they as much as said it. You know, the Democrats, you know, at that time owned it. Now they don't. But, you know, you got like Robert Byrd, who was Biden's mentor.
A Cyclops or whatever the hell he was.
Dude, he voted for Biden, so what the hell?
He was a KKK recruiter. He was in good standing,
absolutely.
Too.
He was the grand Cyclops or something. I don't know what the hell it is.
Oh, my word. And, you know, if you go down into West Virginia, which is West Virginia, because they broke with the slave state of Virginia, everything you see is named after Robert Byrd.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, military and everything. Now, we're going to shift. I hope you got the memo. But, you know, we do a report on here every Monday, and I just wanted to reiterate that, or maybe you can talk about it, the annual numbers were, a week away from the final tally of this year's Chicago report.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes in the dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
It's the Chicago Report with Ward Miller.
Yay!
Well, as Hutch alluded to, we got two pieces to this week's Chicago report. The standard weekly Chicago report, where 36 people have been shot, 6 fatally in this past weekend in violence across Chicago. The second part of it was they have done a year to date, starting January 1st, 2020 through December 16th, 2020, and over 4,000 people have been shot in Lori Lightfoot's Chicago.
Wow.
Since January 1st. 4,000.
That's a lot.
I can't even wrap my head around 4,000 people being shot in 1 year in one city, in an American city. I mean, this isn't like, Afghanistan or, this is
listen
first
to this.
world city, for crying out loud.
It's 2020. And we've been in Afghanistan since 2002?
Yeah,
or something like that. As of July 27, 2018, there have been 2,372 U.S. military deaths in Afghanistan. Of those, 1,856 of the deaths have been the result of hostile action. Chicago in 1 year is worse than Afghanistan by half, by double, in 20 years. That's all you need to know about Democrat rule.
Yeah, it's completely, and immediately Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are, we got to get all these guns under control.
Jesus. It's absolutely
Chicago has their guns as under control as they can be. It's the most locked down city in the United States, and they lead the league in shootings, man.
It's crazy, and there's other cities that are catching up. We need fathers in the inner cities. If you're a man, take a family over. Damn, do something. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Cold War Radio on this Monday Steel City Resistance edition. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
One America News Network, your leading source for the latest breaking national and international news. With nearly 4 times as many headlines as the other networks. Straight news, no speculation, no opinion, just the facts. Complete coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One America News Network, your source for credible news.
The very First Amendment in the Constitution of the United States of America gives us the freedom to express our opinions and ideas in many ways. Speech can be weak, speech can be strong. Speech can be words, speech can be song. Speech can breed love, speech can breed hate. Speech can be poor, speech can be great. There are so many things that speech can be, but above all else, speech must be free. This message is brought to you by the NAB Education Foundation, the Broadcast Education Association, McCormick Foundation, and this station.
If you're looking for the best meat subscription box, look no further than RusticPrairie.com. Rustic Prairie is committed to the old world style way of doing things. We honor the land and the animals we raise with hard work and dedication. Rustic Prairie provides free-range, organic, grass-fed, and grass-finished meats you can trust, and quality 100% landfill-free packaging you can depend on, all delivered right to your front door. Order your subscription box at RusticPrairie.com and receive 10% off when you use the code HOLIDAY at checkout.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and the children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. The snow said I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write.
This is it right here, baby.
Dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white.
Here's a wonderful new idea for Christmas fun. Now you can turn your home into a window wonderland with the magic of glass wax and a set of these easy-to-use cut-out stencils for glass wax. Why, it's so easy a child can do it. Just pour regular glass wax into a dish, dip in a sponge, and simply dab over one of the stencil designs. Put a jolly Santa like this on your windows in a matter of seconds. Or Christmas trees, wreaths, Santa and his reindeer, all the lovely signs of Christmas that will make your home a window wonderland. All through the magic of glass wax and a set of these cut-out stencils for glass wax. Buy your set of Christmas stencils wherever you buy regular glass wax. Beautiful holiday designs to help make a window wonderland at your home this Christmas.
I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company. That's the song I sing. I'd like to teach the world what Santa wants today. Coca-Cola. I'd like to buy the world a Coke. That's the song I sing.
Two reclining bucket seats and carpeting for both your feet, and windows made of tinted glass, a key for locking up your gas. The outside air can flow right through, and front disc brakes are standard too. How did Dodge Colt put so much in such a little car? Paint that's made for fighting, rust, the steering column will adjust, the bumper guards come front and rear. You get a thrifty engine here, a 4-speed shift that's on the floor, and inside hood release some more. How did Dodge Colt put so much in such a little car?
See it at your local Dodge Boys.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio Number 1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hour 2. Let's get into it. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee, Republican, is the latest state leader to urge residents to drastically limit their holiday gatherings by spending them only with members of the same household, signing an executive order limiting indoor public events to 10. In a Sunday evening address, the Republican governor identified Tennessee as ground zero for a surge in sickness, describing the ongoing pandemic as a war. Approximately 10,000 Tennesseans are getting sick daily, the governor said, largely attributing the spike to holiday gatherings, namely the Thanksgiving gatherings. What the hell is wrong with these Republicans, Ward? And I guess you had something hot on your mind. So there you go.
No, actually, I wasn't going to say nothing about him because he's an idiot. What I was actually going to say was I wanted to publicly apologize, Hutch.
Okay.
Because I put it up on the Steel City Resistance site that you had gotten us thrown off of Facebook for a month.
What happened on that?
When in actuality, it was me.
I believe it. I just didn't know which one it was.
Well, I had posted a thing in August of 2019. That's what we got tossed for. And it was a put.
I remember that. Right. It was like a year prior to them firing us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what are we supposed to do about this?
We got to wait out 30 days because it was actually, like I said, it was something I had posted in August of 2019. It was about Hitler. It said he had a 99% popularity rating. He was a socialist, created universal health care, blah, blah, blah. And I went on, and of course it gets like mocking. So he was a brilliant speaker, passed strict gun control, eliminated poverty and hunger, blah, 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 blah. And so we got kicked for that. And
nice.
Yeah. And the other one that got me was we got they said that it was false information post that was shared on our page because it was a fact check that I posted that said that based on the amount of deaths, there isn't a spike for COVID.
I know.
So,
the whole thing is
they fact checked that and said there's no certainty that 2020 will end with fewer total U.S. deaths than 2018 or 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see how that all works. It's amazing that the influenza and pneumonia deaths have disappeared, so they must have cured that while they were developing a vaccine.
They're saying that the reason that the flu isn't as bad is because everybody's social distancing and wearing a mask.
Okay.
But then why is the COVID going up? Because nobody's wearing a mask.
And who knows about the COVID anyway? Oh, this whole thing. All right, let's go to the phones as promised. Let's go to King George in Virginia and ask Ken, what's special about Christmas to your family or growing up or whatever. Let's get a little bit of talk about that and go from there. What's up, sir?
Okay, so one of the things I even wrote this down so I wouldn't forget it. Okay, so you put chicken bouillon cubes. What is it with Pennsylvanians and chicken bouillon cubes? Because when I was on the deployment, I can't remember whether it was 94 or 96 one. My buddy sent me a care package essentially with some Middlesworth barbecue keg chips and a bunch of other stuff, but there was an empty jar of chicken bouillon cubes. There was no chicken bouillon cubes in it. It was just an empty jar. And to this day, he can't tell me why it was in this package. He was like, "Man, we were just throwing shit in the bottom."
he wasn't a doper, was he?
No.
Because he might have been sucking on him. You know what I mean? I mean, I've known people to do that. That's a powerful tasting cube if you do that, though.
That's drawing you up, dude. That's just like pure salt.
I know. It's good when you're cooking, though. It's real nice when you're cooking.
Yeah, but it's like a salt lick for crying out.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt, man. I mean, I
was just wondering if that was like some kind of Pennsylvania thing I missed when I was growing up.
No, when I got that gift, I was stunned. I never got one of those before.
I just think it's funny to say.
That's the kind of thing you buy in 1989, and it's still in the pantry in 2000. There's no shelf life on that bad boy, man. It's already got laser.
Well, see, my mom and dad did send me an entire. It was like a 1 pound log of Seltzer's Lemon and Bologna when we were on one of our deployments.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, well, once you open the thing, you got to find out a place to refrigerate it. And it's not like, we had a refrigerator in it. So I opened up the vent for the refrigeration system for the computers in the space I was in. And yeah, put it up there.
Let me give you a little news. You didn't have to refrigerate that thing. That thing has so much smoke. It's got so much smoke in it. I mean, compared to other stuff that's smoked, that's quadruple smoked. That thing's nothing but smoke. It tastes like smoke. It's good. I'll tell you what's even better. You did you ever travel to Annville? I think I asked you this before. There's a place up there called Laudermilk's Meats. It's run by a family, Mennonite family or Amish, I'm not sure. But they make, for the holidays, they make a small, I think it's like 1 pound log of sweet bologna. And oh my God, is that good. Comes in a muslin cloth cover, and it doesn't need to be refrigerated. And matter of fact, if you do refrigerate it, and you whack a piece off, you should let it sit there until it hits room temperature. It's a much different flavor. So good, though. So good. Good to hear that, man.
So as far as traditions,
yeah.
Okay. I know you're out there in Pittsburgh, but Central Pennsylvania. Have you ever heard of John Cope's dried sweet corn?
No, I have not. Sounds good though.
Oh my God. Okay, so they basically freeze dried the sweet corn. They used to put it in like a package and then in a box. Now it just comes in a.
Oh, it's like corn nuts.
No, it's freeze dried sweet corn.
Okay.
That's all it is.
All right.
But there's a recipe on the back where you take this and you add milk and sugar and eggs and a bunch of other crap, stick it in a blender, and put it in a casserole dish, bake it for like an hour, and all the corn settles to the bottom, and you get this like pudding consistency type stuff in the middle, and then you get this hard crust on the top, and it is delicious. And
like corn pie.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, Mom used to make that every year.
Sounds good.
And I was trying to find this stuff down here the first time, my buddy down here was like, hey, I'll invite you over for Thanksgiving. I'm like, I hit up every grocery store around here, could not find this stuff.
Go online.
Well, apparently now, you can now, but this was, 20 years ago.
Gotcha.
So when I went up to visit my cousins, 2 weekends ago, I was like, man, we got to hit up a place. I want this sweet corn for for Christmas.
You got me wanting it now.
Well, you can buy it from Amazon for like 3 packages of this stuff. It was like $30. I was like, whew. All right. Hit up the Wise Market that was 2 miles from their place. It was a little out of the way, They had that shit on sale, 2 for $5.
There you go.
Well, if you look at the back of it, the expiration is like 2025.
Yeah, I know, and even then it'll be fine as long as no air gets to it.
Oh yeah. So I was like, I cleared out the whole damn thing.
I'm telling you, probably got it reposted on eBay now or on Amazon.
But one other thing we started down here when we went to our new company, we started doing this prime rib roast because the new company, somebody up in Alaska shared this recipe, and you take rosemary and a bunch of other fresh herbs, and some of them are hard to find this time of year, but we have a rosemary plant out on the back porch that its sole purpose in life is to stay alive long enough to cook this prime rib roast.
That's a good thing. See, I've been meaning to do that too with a different purpose for shepherd's pie. I use rosemary and shepherd's pie. It really sets it off, but I never have it when it's time.
Never tried that.
Oh, delicious.
But that's all I have.
All right, Ken, that was a great call, man. Little change of gears for the holiday season, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much for sharing all that.
Oh, no problem.
Merry Christmas, sir. Merry Christmas to your whole family. All right, let's go to Marlene in Eugene. Your Christmas experience, ma'am.
Okay, I had Ty Ward.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, not bad. Actually, growing up, I just got a few things written here. Mom, this was not my stepmother, my real mother, who has passed on. And we'd always have a huge breakfast. She'd always bring out the china. And we usually had eggs, quite often an omelet with, who knows what she put in there. Sometimes bacon, sometimes avocado, all kinds of stuff. And we'd always have Russian or I guess it's Russian, like Christmas bread. It's something a little like challah bread that I don't think it's quite the same.
Like soda bread?
No, it's like a challah bread. It's that braided bread. It's good stuff. And for dinner, the thing was my mother was a gourmet cook. So we had all kinds of we had fantastic Christmas
That's
dinners.
a benefit, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no kidding, Hutch. One year we had roast goose. Another year we had jambalaya.
Jambalaya is good.
Oh, wonderful! I love that.
I've made that with shrimp too. That's good stuff.
Jambalaya rocks.
No, I'm not thinking of
love
jambalaya. I'm thinking of shrimp Creole, but I like them both.
It's kind of the
me
same
too.
thing.
I love both those. Mom used to make. She tried both of them. The other thing we had, she was also quite the baker, and so we had tons and tons of homemade cookies, homemade fudge.
Nice.
And she also made fruitcake. And I know what you're thinking. Fruitcake usually tastes like crap.
Not me. I love
my mom
fruitcake.
I do too, but my mom made a white version. It's not that dark with all the molasses in it. Gag. But now she used to make white fruitcake, and I'm not kidding, we would have tons of cookies and stuff. Oh my God. I probably put on I don't know how many pounds during Christmas, but she just went to town.
I know there's a place, I had a listener early on, Catherine South, I can't remember her name, but had her husband on and everything as a guest. And she was from down in Texas and had pecans where she lived. And there was a bakery down there called the Collins Street Bakery. And for years and years and years, I bought fruitcake from them every Christmas. And it came, the way I got it was individually sliced. So I didn't have to go in there with a knife. All I had to do was pick the slices out. I never finished it, never finished them. They were about triple what I shouldn't say that. They were made with quality ingredients. All their fruit came from Costa Rica, and all their pecans came from right there. And so delicious. Expensive, but I didn't do it this year, and I'm glad I didn't because I can't eat as much anymore. But I love fruitcake. No, I couldn't give it away. Nobody would eat it. I love it. Always did.
Yeah, I like it, but I don't like the dark one. I like the white one my mom used to make. I really did. And she'd make it from scratch. She wouldn't go buy it from a bakery. She said, well, heck, I'm making it myself.
That's too much work for me, man. That sucker was about as dense as concrete. It is. Dense as concrete.
Oh, man. I know. And I guess for my own traditions, now that Dave and I have been married all these years, one of our little traditions is, and I sent some to you last year, Euphoria chocolate.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
No kidding. And I was going to send you some this year, and I thought, with your health situation, I didn't know I wasn't sure whether you could still eat all that fun stuff or not.
I just got to eat a little bit at a time, man. It's torture.
I bet. But I did send you something. I put it in the mail today, and you'll probably get it Thursday, hopefully.
Okay.
And it is something good, and it's not. I was mentioning to Sal, I think last Friday, there's something about a milkshake, and that's what it is. But you'll be surprised, and it is not Ensure or any of that shit. I can't stand that gross stuff.
That stuff's nasty. Some of that stuff's good though. I mean, I got to admit, I don't mind all of those meal replacement shakes or beverages or whatever you want to call them. Some of them are pretty tasty, but the ones that get like pure medicinal and have like 750 different healthy ingredients in them, those are nasty.
Yeah.
Those are straight up gross.
The ones I sent you, yes, they're healthy, Hutch, but I have actually had these myself.
And I like them, like I said.
They are very, very good.
When it comes to kale shakes, I got to pass.
I know.
Oh, God.
Well, Marlene,
my husband, David, would love that. He loves kale.
Thanks for sharing your experience. Thanks for sharing your experience. That was a great call, Marlene. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll see you. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas, by the way. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out yet, if you joined the program lately, we have programmed calls or focused calls this evening. I want to hear about your Christmas time traditions or, when you were growing up or especially different foods that you may eat during the holiday. We're all different, but we're all spun together and link each other through several things. One of the things is this thing called Christianity that's bigger than all of us and allows us to reflect on the birth of Jesus Christ, but also, add to the experience with our different traditions and different things that we do as American families. Let's go to California and welcome Sean to the program. A younger listener, but I'm sure he remembers vividly some of the things that he experienced. Sean, Merry Christmas, and how you doing?
Hey, Hutch, and Merry Christmas to you all as well. I got a few, but I'm going to only pick out a couple so that way everybody gets a turn to tell their stuff. So one of them is basically after every Sunday night mass, if you will. So that would tell you a lot about what religion I belong to. It's Catholicism or whatever, Catholics. We would go home, and one of us, well, actually all of us, got to open one small present. That was it. That was pretty much like, yeah, everybody, we get to open one present before Christmas. Yay. Okay. And then we had a big breakfast the next day. But then eventually, this is where the next part of the whole thing comes together, is I was kind of a Scrooge, if you will. Now, I was a bit of a mean person when I was growing up. Again, Hellraiser. Eventually, someone said, okay, you know what? Let's humiliate this kid. Let's put a Bah Humbug hat on him and tell him to wear it every freaking Christmas day. Because that's what
were you the younger brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Technically,
it's all falling into place now.
By 1 minute. 1 minute.
Not just doing math, man.
Anyways, so every Christmas I have to wear this Bah Humbug hat, and I guess after a while everybody started, to say, you know what, take that hat off. I'm like, no, I love it now. So Bah Humbug.
There you go. Nice. Any special recipes or food that comes to mind over the holiday, or not so much?
Other than not so much. I mean, every time we got up, it was some new. It was either a Christmas themed holiday breakfast sometimes, which is color-dyed food, red and green, if you will, to make it look Christmassy. Or sometimes you would just make a big breakfast with flapjacks, hash browns, French toast. We tried to make stuffed French toast at one time. That was good. Didn't turn out so well after the end. Coffee.
Cheese.
Yeah, that just didn't sit well sometimes. Let's see here. We had, just all kinds of fun little Christmas breakfasts.
That's good.
We did have one big gathering at one point in the house, because our house was known as the party house.
Right.
Because it was so huge enough to fit everybody in it. I mean, it was a 2-story house, but it was in the middle of the desert.
There you go.
Whatever.
All right.
But it was fun.
You checked that out, Ward. He said, food, not so much. And then he went on with a great call.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you, Sean. Appreciate you sharing. And make sure you have a Merry Christmas out there, no matter what else happens, okay?
Yep. Merry Christmas to you guys, and God bless you all.
All right.
Take it easy, man.
I can't
Merry
wait.
Christmas.
I can't wait, Ward, until St. Patrick's Day. Maybe we'll do this for St. Patrick's Day, and we could really embarrass the country.
Sure. What are we drinking today?
Green beer. I'll tell you though.
An Irish car bomb. Did you ever one of
that? I had a brain hemorrhage one time.
Yeah, they're not
probably the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a whole big glass of Wreck My Car.
Ooh. Okay.
I mean, that's what
awesome.
It is. They taste so good. It's like almost like a chocolate milkshake.
Right. Yeah,
and
those are the dangerous ones.
Yeah, and they're pure alcohol. By the time you're done, you just don't know what planet you're on. You're like, Jesus, I'm going to die.
I always end up. Those stories always end up in jail with me. I don't know. It just take that a little too far.
Well, that's the problem with me. If I drink tequila makes me break out in handcuffs.
Me too, man. Every time, even if it's tequila sunrise, that pre-mixed bottle that took me to jail out in Philly.
Tequila in anything, I'm going to jail.
That is some evil stuff, man. It comes straight from the cartels, I think.
Because it's like, let's inject this with some kind of just insanity. Okay, whoever drinks this is going to go completely freaking mental.
Who puts a worm in the bottom of the bottle? Shot. Who puts a worm in the bottom of the bottle and everybody's reaching for the bottle?
Yeah.
And the sucker's still alive down there. It's like, whoa.
There's a bug in there, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
Now at my house, we had... I guess nobody was a gourmet, but my dad was like trying to be one. And my mother was trying to, work it in the kitchen. And she did come up with some meals that were out of this world. One of the things that you don't really see in the country that much, especially as Americans have completely Americanized, and we've lost a lot of our Irish heritage and different other European heritage. One of the things that we grew up with, and I guess it would be, if you had to rate the best meal that you could have in my family, in other words, the most grandiose type meal, the most special meal, I think it would be leg of lamb at my house. And I didn't really realize the significance of that until I saw one in the grocery store and looked at the price of it. And I was like, my God, we used to eat that? That son of a bitch is $100.
Yeah. Well, now they are. Yeah. Leg of lambs are extremely expensive. I mean, it was never cheap, but I mean, it was cheaper than it is now.
So good, though. I mean, so succulent if it's cooked right. And, my dad had this thing of eating it with mint jelly. I could never do that. But I just like the flavor of lamb by itself. I love lamb chops. I love ground lamb. Shepherd's pie is my absolute favorite. But leg of lamb is and a rack of lamb is good, too. I had that up at the Lamont, which is Pittsburgh's only 5-star restaurant, by the way. Man, was that good, too. I made an error there. Boy, did I make a stupid mistake up there, though, Ward. I let my pride get stupid on me. I get up there, and I'm taking somebody. I don't know who the hell was with me. I think it was my wife now. But I was trying to impress. I'm out there in the Lamont restaurant. I'm dressed pretty nice. I got a credit card. I'm going to get what I want. And I asked for recommendations, and the maitre d' said the standing rack of lamb. And I was like, there it is. So when we ordered, the waitress, or it was a waiter, rather, gave me the choice. I never had a choice in water before, Ward, and he gave me a choice. He's like, you want tap, mineral, or spring water? And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, who in the hell is going to order tap water in a place like this? I said, give me the spring water. And he went away. I forget what my wife ordered, but we were in this, ladies and gentlemen, this restaurant is on Mount Washington, which is across the river, the Point, actually, and looks out over the entire city from a mountaintop. And the restaurant is on the mountaintop, and it has huge picture windows, and we're right in front of one of these things. It's a beautiful night in the city of thieves. You can see all the thieving going on throughout the landscape. But the couple sits down right next to us, and they're ordering. And obviously they've been there before, because the guy says, I'll have the tap water. So I get my meal, and the guy comes over, the waiter comes over, and he's got this big silver polished container on a little table with wheels, and he opens it up, Ward, and it's filled with ice. And he pulls out a bottle of, like, Dear Nature spring water that you get from the 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And pours it in my chalice full of ice, and my wife's as well. And as we're leaving the establishment and I'm checking out the bill, I paid $6 for a bottle of water that I could have got tap water.
And the tap was, I'm sure the tap was like, I'm sure they charged for it because it's Lamont. But I'm sure you got it.
Great place, though. Great place. Just don't let you.
Good food. The place, like right next door to him, too, is the Grandview Saloon.
Yeah. There's several of them over there.
I'll tell you what, they made one of the best steaks I ever had.
Out on Grandview Avenue, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Up there, beautiful place. No place like it in the city, really. I mean, it's amazing. Let's go back to the phones, and let's go to the city of Richmond and welcome Regina to the program, hopefully with an exciting Christmas story. What's on your mind, Regina? And Merry Christmas.
Hello, Merry Christmas to you and Ward.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I got a good Christmas story for you.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh, all my family were together and stuff like that. Let's put it this way: when all my family were together on the holidays, people go too far.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, because
crazy
what
uncle.
What happens is that my aunt and my grandmother get in the kitchen, and they be in there cooking pretty much everything. And while they're cooking, they be drinking also when they're cooking.
Well, you say that like it's a negative, Regina.
You just reminded me of something.
Absolutely positive. Hey, if I'm going to be cooking, God knows I'm going to be drinking.
Let's put some flavor into it. But you gave me a memory of a friend of mine's house. His mother, when you say went overboard, she used to make sweet potato pies for Christmas and Thanksgiving for the whole holidays. But she didn't just make sweet potato pies. She used to make like 40 of them. You know what I mean? I mean, like a whole bushel of sweet potato. I mean, just 40 of them, just like that, and just gave them away. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sure you're going to get into something like that.
Yeah, because see, my family, they used to. What I mean by going too far is that they used to cook everything known to mankind. Let me see: turkey, ham, sweet potato, mashed potatoes, green beans, yams. Let me see, potato salad. Let me
macaroni
see,
and cheese.
So enough of making me hungry, man.
Mac and cheese, gotta have that.
Oh yeah, kale. They had the kale. Oh, we call it greens. We had greens and stuff like that. And then somebody decided they were gonna fix, I guess, chitlins one year.
Gotta have those.
Stuff like that.
Not me though. I'll pass on those.
Yeah, and pig feet and stuff like that.
Hey.
And hug mom.
Oh yeah.
You know what's funny is I was bouncing in a bar in South Carolina a long time ago, and they had the pickled pig's feet on the bar, and I watched the guy eat this thing,
gnawed on it.
He's gnawing on it, and there's all kind of like congealed grease in it, and he's got this big. Willie Robertson Duck Dynasty beard, and he's just got all kind of grease and stuff, and it's all wrapped up in it, and he's just gnawing away, and I'm like, that is nasty.
I know.
I can eat a lot of things. I'm not going to gnaw on a pig's foot.
I was down at Fort Benning, and I'm only 20, guys. And I'm from Pittsburgh. I never saw a pig's foot before that wasn't attached to a pig. And I'm down there, and this guy's driving me. He's from down there. He's from Georgia. He's like, Bailey, pull over here, man. I want to go in this place real quick. So I pulled over, and Sarge went in there, and he came out. I told this story before, but for me, it was traumatic. You know what I mean? For you, Regina, it probably wouldn't be nothing. But them little cardboard canoes that people sell hot dogs in? Well, he had one of them cardboard things. He went in this place. He came out with this cardboard thing, and I couldn't see what was in it. I thought he got a hot dog. And he came out. He got in the car, and I glanced over, and ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing about a pig foot that is not explicitly about a pig foot. It doesn't look like chicken. It don't taste like chicken. It don't look like chicken. It looks like a pig foot with a hoof on it that got whacked above the next knuckle. And he did the same thing. He started gnawing on that thing, and I'm like, oh, damn, man, put some hot sauce on that son of a bitch or something. I was stunned. I was. I have nothing against it. It's just I never saw it before.
It's one of them different strokes for different folks type things. But being, like you said, being from Pittsburgh, and this is the first time I'm exposed to it.
Right, right.
Whoa. What in the hell are you doing with that?
I was still trying to get over to boiled peanuts.
Boiled peanuts are awesome, dude.
They are good. They are good.
You got to force yourself past it initially because they're like, "Hey, want some boiled peanuts?" You're like, "Yeah, that sounds like crap." You get a couple of them things in you, and you're like, "Ooh, hey, boy!"
Man, last time I was down at Fort Dix, New Jersey, they had them in the damn PX. They had a little dispenser that was heated and stuff. But
now you can. They actually have them like in Giant Eagle and places that you could buy them.
Really?
And they have they're in a can. You pop the top on the can. They're not as good as if you get them like that
in a brown paper bag.
Yeah, get them fresh.
Yeah, get them fresh in the paper bags when they just got done, boiling them and stuff. Oh, but they are so good.
So tell us some more, Regina. I know you got some good ones.
Oh yeah, and another thing about the pig feet, you're gonna love this part. You just want to be around my family members when they be eating pig feet. Want me to tell you why?
Was it a performance?
Yeah, the slurping, the sucking, and stuff like that. They did this. They did the same thing with the turkey necks and the chicken.
Oh
necks,
yeah.
same thing.
Oh yeah.
Because my grandmother she used to like to suck the marrow out.
Oh. Hey, you know what though?
Out of the neck bone.
I'll tell you what though, that definitely illustrates hardship though. I mean, to do that, especially with a fervor. I mean, that's something that they went through. I mean, you know, I remember Richard.
This was in the 80s, Hutch.
Okay.
This wasn't like.
So it's kind of like
back.
It's kind of like
this
Korean.
This was crying out loud.
Yeah, this was in the 80s, all through the 90s.
Oof,
they was doing that.
Yeah, that reminds me of Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor talking about his Ant-Man scene, you know, sitting around the table, and Ant-Man scene suck a neck bone like it was a work of art. Threw it down to the dog, and the dog looked at it like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? You know, so it's empty, but, you know, all right, so
yeah,
go ahead, you keep going. We got some time. Go ahead, we got some time.
This is just the last one. My family, we used to go steal trees off the live trees off the state property.
I did that too.
In the cover of darkness.
Me too. I did. I went out to the interstate with my chainsaw and cut a tree down more than once. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Came home all late, half drunk. You know, my mother was like, "No, you ain't putting that up. It's 11 o'clock. I'm putting it up. Damn it." Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's 10 feet tall. That's the ceiling's only 8. Oh, okay. We got to do something with that.
Yeah, my grandmother used to get the 8 feet. Try to get the 8 feet tall ones because she used to go out there in the middle of in the middle of darkness with the car lights on, all the way in the backwoods, and they had to find that she had to pick out the right tree.
So that's who that was. That's who was in that other car. Was your family? See, I seen them out there. We were out there together trying to get these trees off the public land. I mean,
National
they look too good.
Family vacation.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
Both sides of the car by 2 feet.
That was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Regina, thank you very much for lighting up my evening. That was an outstanding call, and I appreciate you for sharing that. That's what I wanted to hear. Something that made me chuckle. Something that made me a little bit. I could take my mind off this garbage all the time. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas, Regina.
Okay, Merry Christmas to you. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, Regina.
What a great call, man. Wow. What a great call. And it leads me right in to something very serious, Ward. I mean, we yucked it up a little bit, and I think that's very important. I think I have to try to figure out a way to get a segment where we're not so serious every single minute all the time. Something to just, that was a good night. I liked those calls. I really did. I got a lot out of them, and I wish there were more, but we can do this again. We got a couple more days in the holiday time frame. But a serious note, something that I've seen coming for a while. I want you to listen to the most ridiculous Speaker of the House. This lady's maniacal. Nancy Pelosi is not fit for any kind of service, let alone public service, in the power position that she's in. I want you to listen to her talking about the quote-unquote science of this pandemic fraud. And I want you to hear her correlate it. This is what they're going to try to do. If you know anything about communism, about cultural Marxism, about the takeover of this nation from within, you know that one of the things that they've been steadfastly and successfully in a lot of ways in doing has been to destroy the American church, the mainline Protestant church. They're all jokes now. Every one of them. That you see a church out there with a big congregation that's a mainline Protestant congregation, 9/10 of them are phonies. They're frauds. They're garbage. And I hate to say that. It hurts me to say that. It really does. But what they're trying to do is totally eliminate the church from American life. That's why I was so adamant at the top of the show with comparing democracy to Christianity. Two separate wavelengths, two totally separate powers. one a power and the other just an ideology. But an important one, but not near as important as what binds us together as Christians. And I want you to listen to this woman challenge congressmen and women of faith and use science, the fake science that Fauci and his devils and Birx have dropped on this country. And listen to her. You can see where they're going. You're either science or you're God. Well, I'm going to stick with God.
We didn't do it. We couldn't pass legislation until now because the administration simply did not believe in testing, tracing, treatment, wearing masks, sanitation, separation, and the rest.
Now, how can you lie more than that, Ward? Was she not there during the 3 years of the magnificent performance by the administration? The magnificent performance.
Well, no, that's the thing. I mean, because they gave the first stimulus, and she couldn't have Trump have another win before the election. So she stopped it, and it came out and admitted to the fact that she slow walked it so that Trump couldn't get a win, and she wasn't going to release it until after the holidays. And on top of that, have you seen anything from this bill?
No. Oh, yes, I have in the chat room. Okay. That's going to require a half an episode.
Yeah, well, Congress is going to send to Burma $135 million, $85.5 million to Cambodia, $500 million to Israel, $130 million to Nepal, $700 million to Sudan, and $453 million to Ukraine. This is a stimulus bill for the United States, folks.
Yeah, it's a deep state. It's a deep state. That's Bolton, and that's all of your likely suspects that you've seen paraded in front of your fake news cameras for the last 3 years. They're back in power, man. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Clapper and Brennan back in government.
Well, they're going to try and get them in there. You know,
let's finish this clip up. Let's finish this clip up real quick.
Scientific approach. It had come clear to us now that they believed in herd immunity, quackery, springing right from the Oval Office, and not denied sufficiently by some of the CDC and the rest. So now we have a vaccine, and that gives us hope.
Good.
That just shocked the absolute crap out of me. So she's calling for science and then calling out the CDC.
And saying that herd immunity, is quackery.
Exactly. It's like,
she's a lunatic. She's a lunatic. The people of San Francisco should go to her house and take her outside and be nice to her and remove her from office.
Well, here's the thing that nobody's remembering, man.
We're going to have to go to Washington, man. That's all there is to it.
You know, here's the thing. Her husband owned Dominion, or he was an investor in Dominion, as was Dianne Feinstein's
chief of staff.
So my question at that point becomes, how do we know that they won legit? Ever? So, I mean, I'm not
mail-in ballots by the tractor trailer coming from New York to Harrisburg.
But that's to get rid of Trump. I'm just saying, for how many years since they've been using these Dominion machines in New York, in where it's not a national election. She's running for Congress or whatever, and so you don't think the fix was in?
I even questioned Allegheny County about them 4 years ago. When the Soros machines were here, and we saw them this year. They weren't here by last year. They were here this year, though.
Well, that's because Governor Wolf mandated them.
And by God, but they were, on order way before that. And they wouldn't answer me. They gave me some bullshit answer. Let's finish this because I want you to hear the part about the faith.
A vaccine that springs from science. People say around here sometimes, I'm faith-oriented, so I don't believe in science. And I said, well, you can do both. Science is an answer to our prayers. And our prayers have been answered with a vaccine.
From Donald Trump.
And in this legislation, we had provision for it to be...
I can't take her anymore. So if you believe in God, you can't believe science. Is that what she's trying to say? Is that how they roll in San Francisco? Is that the way they, before they shit on the street, is that how they roll?
Here's the reason they're doing it, Hutch, is because there's going to be people that come up, especially Christians, are going to say, I'm not going to take a vaccination that's using stem cells from aborted fetuses. And that's their way of saying, well, then you believe in faith, you don't believe in science. And so here's my question.
They're going to try to make you look like the family that's letting the boy starve when all he has to do is go to the hospital and get a shot. And they're giving him flaxen and rice and pig's feet to live.
How do we know if the vaccine's working? Is the survival rate going to go from 99.7 to 99.8?
But you have to wear your mask for the next 5 years.
And anybody who has ever gone through chem warfare training in the military, you guys know as well as I do, when you put that stuff on, at that point, you're probably safe from a biological agent. But that's wearing a gas mask. That's wearing a charcoal suit. And that's wearing,
a fully encapsulated suit with a SCBA on the back.
Absolutely. There's a big difference between that and your Bullwinkle mask that you have on.
Right. No doubt about it. Oh, and by the way, all future, we are going to have photo IDs for elections from now on, but they're all going to be wearing a mask. So there's that. Got to have that. All right, let's go to Tulsi Gabbard. I haven't really been enamored with this woman, but she really talks sense. And boy, does the Democrat Party need someone like her right now. So does the Republican Party.
Well, that's what she's doing. By the way, she's coming out and she's saying the things that make sense. Now, she's a complete lefty Democrat.
Yes, she is from Hawaii. From Hawaii. One of the worst.
There's pictures of her with the Antifa and the whole 9 yards. But she's smart. She's smart because
I don't remember if it was you. I think it was you. I don't think it was Mr. J yet. You and I covered before you left, or in between one of the times, the Syrian civil war in the first year of it, right? Pretty sure we did, because we weren't totally sold on the fact that Assad gassed his own people. Yeah, I remember that. And Tulsi Gabbard at the time traveled there and confronted what's called the White Hats. And it was very clear that Assad never gassed his own people. And that was one of the faults I had with President Trump's assessment of it. And I was in between two things, is my gut telling me that this guy's winning the war? Why would he gas his people? Or is Trump knows something I don't know? Anyway, I want you to listen to Tulsi Gabbard talking about this vaccine. This is a travesty of justice in America.
Heartless, arrogant, unelected CDC bureaucrats have decided that the lives of elderly Americans just don't count. Now, for months, the CDC has been telling us that the elderly are the most vulnerable. But now they are recommending that 100 million so-called essential workers, which means
like
healthy
AOC.
people working at everything from liquor stores to telephone companies, that they can get the vaccine before our grandparents can. That members of Congress like me, we can get the vaccine before at-risk seniors can. People like my aunt, who is imprisoned in her own home because of the danger that if she catches the disease, she could die. This is immoral and bad health policy. I had planned to take the vaccine, but will now stand in solidarity with our seniors by not doing so until they can. I urge my colleagues in Congress who are under the age of 65 and healthy to join me.
Well, that's 3 people, so get those other 2, and you can try to do something. Unbelievable, man. You know, this is Bill Gates shit. This is Bill Gates bullshit. You know, he got $3.6 billion out of that stimulus, too. This is Bill Gates bullshit. Screw the old people. They live their lives already. Asshole.
My thing with her is, if you look beyond that, what she's doing is positioning herself to be a middle-of-the-road Democrat, because the Democrats have gone so far left that she seems moderate. She seems like, you know,
she sounds reasonable to me. That's a reasonable thing I could get behind right there.
Absolutely.
But they won't do it. They won't do it because it looks like they're getting along. And now the Republicans aren't going to do it, and I don't freaking blame them. You know, in a way, after the way they've been treated.
Well, the other thing, too, is, you know, I don't trust the vaccine at all. You know, and it's not there's just too much stuff about it that I don't like. You know, and not only the fact that it was made using aborted fetuses, which I can't get down with. The second thing is it changes your DNA. It alters your DNA. I'm going to pass on that because I've seen the shit that Bill Gates has done with his computers. I don't need him playing in my DNA.
We don't need to be hitting control, alternate, delete, you know, on our bodies.
And here's the other thing that hasn't come out yet. Pfizer was working with the lab in Wuhan that developed it.
That's great. So and Fauci, too. Fauci's got his fingerprints all over that.
Absolutely. Fauci's all involved with it, as is Gates. You know, I mean, there's video evidence of Gates, Fauci, and Obama in the Wuhan lab. I mean, it's like, okay. So, and the thing is, the Wuhan lab is associated with Pfizer. So the same place that they're making the virus, they're making the cure.
This whole thing is nuts. All right, we got to wrap it up, Ward. I want to play one final clip, and I will direct you to the Video 2 page at steelcityresistance.com. You're going to want to watch this video. Happy birthday to the United States Space Force.
Today, space is essential not only to our way of life, it's absolutely critical to the modern way of war. GPS, ATMs, cell phones, gas pumps, traffic lights, power grids, guided missiles, surveillance, RPAs, ground combat control. There's no such thing as a day without space operations. You just don't see them. Earth is only half the battle. Cyber attacks and jamming of our satellites. Microsatellites that can create a debris field. At 17,000 miles an hour, a piece of metal the size of a coin can be weaponized. Now is the time for a military branch with a clear and singular focus on space. A military branch that protects the hopes and dreams of America and our way of life as the space domain becomes more and more contested. It's time for another giant leap. The United States Space Force is being built from the brightest minds across the space operations of the Air Force, our joint services, and the private sector. We aren't just getting ready for the near future. We're getting ready for the 22nd century. When our enemies ask, what if? We will have an answer. When foreign powers can build bases on the dark side of the moon, when private companies are inventing a new economy beyond our planet, we need to stay one step ahead of the future. The future is where we'll make history. We will fight in an environment with no up or down, no left or right, where there are no borders and nowhere to hide. Our Space Force is defending our country, here on Earth and wherever our mission takes us. As commerce and exploration expand, we will imagine the unimaginable, anticipate the inconceivable, and prepare for the impossible. We won't just think outside the box. We'll think outside the atmosphere, in one of the most challenging environments ever known.
I don't know, Ward, but for a guy like me, and especially a guy like you, because it comes out of the Air Force, that's awe-inspiring.
Oh, yeah. It sounds cool, man. I mean,
got to watch the video, folks. You got to watch the video.
I'm way too old to volunteer, but that sounds like
me too.
Cool.
I could write some manuals for him maybe or something, but I don't know. I probably can't even do that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your calls. We've got one more show for sure before Christmas on Wednesday. I'm going to have to check with Jack and see what he wants to do on Friday. Not sure yet. We will let you know on Wednesday. On Wednesday, Sal will be in studio with us if the creeks don't rise. So we're looking forward to that. Ward, how can people get in touch with you? And Merry Christmas, my man.
Thanks a lot, Hutch, and the same to you, and same to all of our listeners. You can always hit me up on Parler at Ward Miller. I think it's one word, Ward Miller. And then I'm still on Twitter. Hutch got thrown off Twitter.
I did.
At Wardy22. We don't have a Facebook page for 30 days, so you can check out some of the old stuff that was there. So sorry.
We'll try to post on SteelCityResistance.com. It's not as big of a thing, but we'll give it a shot. I have something I want to write about anyway. I do that once or twice a year, and they seem to get the most hits. I don't know what it is about that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, think about if you didn't call and you wanted to. I know a lot of you are like that. Please think about your Christmas traditions and your food and everything. I dropped a line in the chat room. I'd like to hear from you on Wednesday. We're going to go with the same focus phone event on Wednesday. I really enjoyed that, Ward. I hope we get some more callers, maybe some new ones, to share some of the unique things that go on, because so many unique things do go on in the holidays. I've seen a ton of stuff in a ton of different families, and it's just amazing that we all come together, and it's all for the same reason. Jesus is the reason for the season, and that's the way it is. I'm Hutch Bailey Jr. I want to thank everybody for listening and choosing Cold War Radio. We'll be back on Wednesday again. Listen to Jacob Seals. Go to rsbn.bandcamp.com. Also Madison Rising. Check them out. Google them. I can't remember if it's .com or .org. You can probably find some references in the VFW, which is our chat room. Thanks for letting us into your life for a couple hours, ladies and gentlemen. Ward Miller and Hutch Bailey Jr., we're gone. Let's ride on out of here. God bless.
Let us pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.